Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your December 2016 love reading. It's Raina here. As you can see, I've already laid out the cards because I actually had to start over again. But I did want to tell you very briefly that Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, which is apropos for this particular reading, is going into our third house of communication on December 7th. So that means that for the first 7 days or so, Venus will be in the second house of earned income. Venus sometimes can bring money with her, so that can be very good for a boost to your earned income. But then when it goes into the third house, you're talking about where you find love, and so it could be on the internet, anything to do with communication. And maybe you'll hear from somebody. We are having a Mercury retrograde. I think it's around the 17th of December or thereabouts. So that's sometimes when Mercury goes retrograde, sometimes you have, you hear from somebody that you haven't heard from in a while. But it could just be a new person that you meet online. And it could also be that you meet somebody in your local area because the third house also rules that as well. Okay, so the overall energy is the Four of Swords. So this is a time of rest and recuperation. It's possible that you have, gone through something and now you're trying to kind of just build yourself up again. You could be taking time out, maybe resting more than usual. And of course, while the sun is in the 12th house, which happens up until your solar return, so for those of you born in December, you will still have the sun in your 12th house until it goes into your, on your actual day. And that can leave people feeling a bit less energized until the sun crosses over into their exact degree. And so, that's in and of itself, that 12th house influence can, be connected to that Four of Swords. But when I look at the past position, I'm looking at the Eight of Cups. So some of you may have actually physically left a relationship. This would be that you left a relationship that just wasn't fulfilling you emotionally. And I do feel that you would have been the one that left, that somebody did not leave you. Although I do get for the accompanying energy, the Five of Cups. So there may be grief involved with, even if you did leave, you may not have wanted. Because, that can be a form of grief too. Maybe you try to make something work and you really love the person, but you just can't do it anymore. And an example of this type of situation can be somebody who has an addiction. So, this could be somebody who has alcoholism. When you see cups, it's connected to water signs. So we're looking at the Cancers and Scorpios and Pisces. And, those water signs, their drug of choice tends to be alcohol or other depressants. But we always think of the alcohol, but that's an example. I'm not saying that would be what, made you go, but I'm just saying that sometimes people can leave and they don't want to leave. And then that creates a sense of sadness in and of itself. But now you're resting and maybe you're kind of coping with some kind of grief. And so the higher message in all of this is the Six of Cups. This could be that, like I say, you may hear from somebody from your past, because this can relate to nostalgic feelings. So you might hear from somebody maybe after the 17th, after the Mercury retrograde, after Venus goes into that third house. You may hear from somebody, maybe a phone call, maybe the internet, and it's somebody that you knew way back when, high school sweetheart. And it reminds you when things were much simpler and you didn't have to deal with some of the complications of, you know, whatever situation you were involved with that was very trying. The other thing about the Six of Cups can be that you just realize, you know, what your goal should be in the future for any type of relationship you get into. You might have kind of maybe looked at it from a wrong point of view, and now you kind of are a lot more, you know, savvy about that sort of thing, and you can make sure that you don't allow yourself to fall in the trap of, I don't know, you know, Sagittarians wouldn't necessarily do this too often, but, you know, anyone can do it, of going after somebody for things that are not ultimately going to bode well for relationships. So, you know, going after somebody for their looks, or because you're impressed with, you know, they are very financially stable, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, those qualities, but when that becomes the primary reason why a person goes towards somebody who's attractive or who, you know, makes a nice living, that can unfortunately be a one-dimensional relationship, and it doesn't necessarily bode well for the kind of like the soul connection, or also in terms of just basic compatibility in a lot of ways. So anyhow, what crosses you, now see, we're getting a lot of Cups cards. So, I mean, this could be definitely a water sign person who's involved with you. This is the King of Cups. I'm reading it as a reverse card because it's in the challenge position. In the upright position, this person is like a male. When I say male, it doesn't necessarily have to be in a general reading, but typically, you know, since these are people, it would be like a male who is very in touch with their feminine side. But I mean that as like the emotional makeup, you know. They are able to express themselves. In other words, they have mastery. Since it's a king, it's a form of mastery. So they have mastery over their emotional selves. They're very able to, it's a great, actually a great combination, because there's a strength, and yet there's also a gentleness at the same time. You know, sometimes you get people who are very gentle, but they're kind of weak. You know, they're kind of spineless. They let people take advantage of them and things like that. And that could possibly be, for instance, a Page of Cups type of an individual. But the King of Cups, you know, is not a fool, will not allow anybody to play them. But at the same time, they are not going to be hard. Like, you know, sometimes the King of Swords can be very, you know, very intelligent, but not necessarily very in touch with their feelings, and that can create problems in relationships. So the King of Cups isn't like that. And this can also be somebody who's a counselor, who does this for a living, a priest, you know, somebody who's like kind of a leader in the community, but they're doing something that's related to the healing arts, or the area of life dealing with healing. And so this person, though, in the reverse position, is all of those negative traits, and I would say that they are a master manipulator. So you could be, this could be the person that you were involved with. Now, if this person is an addict of some kind, those types of people tend to be very manipulative. So they tend to you know, use guilt, use you know, your tenderheartedness, your love for them, to force you, or to try to get you into, you know, taking them back when you really believe that, you know, it's not a healthy situation, and that they really have no intention of changing. They might lie and say that they're going to change, knowing they can manipulate you into, you know, sticking around, even though you feel like it's kind of a dead end. And so you have to be careful of this person, whoever he or she is, because they may be, and it's not that they're like evil people. If they have some kind of a problem, it's that's all they know how to do, is to manipulate, because they don't know how to really be powerful on their own. And so they just try to do, it's almost like an energy vampire, I would say. So you have to be careful if this person is somebody that you were romantically involved with, that you don't, fall for the okie doke and allow them to manipulate you, because I think there could be also, I was thinking too, there could be an air sign that has come into your life. And I'm not saying that this person is necessarily, I think it might be a romantic partner though, because this is in the advice. So it might be someone that is more appropriate for you. This would be a Gemini, which is the opposite sign of Sagittarius, or a Libra or Aquarius individual. It could be that person is kind of like showing the contrast of what a relationship can be like. Generally speaking, the fire signs and the air signs are very well suited for one another. So if I had to say, which one would be more appropriate for you, I would say it would be an air sign versus a water sign. But, I'm admitting that's a gross generalization. The Page of Swords can also indicate yet another indication that you will be in communication, you will receive a message, or just at least be, very active in that sense. But it's also the card of being somewhat of a spy. And I definitely know what they mean by this. It could be being vigilant about a situation, but it could be being a spy. Like if you're in a new relationship, you may be like a little bit gun shy because you've just kind of gotten over this other situation and you don't want to like jump right back into the fire. So you may be kind of like checking out all the stuff that they claim is part of their life to make sure that they're not kind of misrepresenting themselves. And sometimes that can involve doing some research and kind of seeing if they are who they claim to be. But it could definitely be dealing with somebody of the air element. It doesn't have to be their sun sign, but if their overall a signature is that intellectual, detached, kind of communicative. I'm thinking, is that somebody who likes to communicate? But I'm thinking of communicative diseases, so I don't know if you can say somebody who likes to communicate a lot, and somebody who is very intellectually kind of oriented versus, somebody who wants to just be indulgent or, not necessarily, where you feel like when you're talking to them, you're on the same level. Because, as Sagittarians, we do tend to, be very interested in, we like to read and things like that. So it's always kind of, I think, for a lot of Sagittarians, important that we are with somebody that we have a meeting of the minds. The outcome is the Ten of Pentacles. This is a card that, if I were doing a general reading, would speak of inheritances and family money, family business specifically. Because this is a love reading, it could be that you are, experiencing a lot of success career-wise, because this could be your business and you could be doing very, very well. So it could be that you're just very consumed with that right now. It could also be that there is something like, it could be also maybe you meet somebody through your family. Because I did say that there was something of that nostalgic energy from the past. So this could be kind of confirming that. Now, because it is Pentacles, we could be talking about somebody who has Earth very prominent. So that would be a Taurus or a Virgo or Capricorn. So it looks to me like, there's a lot of, it's kind of like the tale of two, periods of time in the month. Like you're coming into December, those of you for whom this applies, and you're kind of recuperating from something from the past, and then this new situation comes in. And it feels like a very, I would say this could be, I think this card is associated with soulmates too. So that would be really cool if that were true for Sagittarians, because if you have been, going through a lot of suffering in the past, it makes it a little bit more worthwhile if the outcome is something very positive like that. So I wish you a wonderful December, Sag, and if you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great month. Bye.